Hello and welcome to this video where I will be showing you how to crochet this stitch combo that you see right here. So this is a 4-row repeat and we're going to be using linked half treble crochet as well as yarn over slip stitches. So you can go ahead and grab your hook and your yarn and let's get started. So you're going to want to start with a regular slip knot and then do any number of chains. If you're doing your gauge swatch, then I recommend doing the number of stitches that it says for your gauge plus maybe 10, so that your square becomes slightly bigger than your actual gauge is, which is usually 10 centimeters or 4 inches. And that is because you don't want to have to measure any stitches that are at the very edges, because these can have a different tension. But I'm just making a small little sample here. So any number of chains. Now, for the first row, we're going to make yarn over slip stitches. We're going to be starting in the second chain from the hook. And a yarn over slip stitch is exactly what it sounds like, which is a slip stitch with a yarn over first. So yarn over, go into the second chain from your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm just gonna grab this right here with my thumb and my middle finger, and I'm going to use that third loop to pull through the 2 innermost loops. And that's the yarn over slip stitch. One more time, we start with a yarn over, going to the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, then pull through 2 loops. And you're going to want to do this in each of the remaining chains. When you get to the end, chain 3 and turn. Now we're going to do a row of linked half treble crochets into the back loops only. And the back loops are these ones right here. So if you're looking at your previous row from the top, it's the loops that are furthest away from you here. So linked half treble crochet. Start with a yarn over and go into the second of those 3 chains. Yarn over and pull up a loop. I now have 3 loops on my hook. Then we're going to go into the back loop of the first stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. 4 loops total. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 3. And that's our very first stitch. For the second stitch and all of the remaining stitches, we're not going to go into any of the chains, but we're going to go into this horizontal bar on the previous stitch, this one right here, and this is what makes them linked. So yarn over and from the top go into this horizontal loop or horizontal bar from the previous stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops, go into the back loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. And that's our second stitch. So one more time, exactly the same. Yarn over, go into this horizontal bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, back loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. One more time. Yarn over, go into the horizontal bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, go into the back loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. And then you just keep going until the end of the row. When you only have 1 stitch left, I like to go through 2 loops on this stitch, just so it doesn't create like a big gap. So to start the stitch as normal, and then instead of just going into the back loop, you go through just 2 loops like this. That way we don't get like an edge with a lot of holes in it. So that is our row 2. The next 3 rows are going to be yarn over slip stitches again. So for those we start with a chain 1 and we turn. Now we're going to be working into the front loops, or also known as the third loops. So this is going to be the wrong side of your work, and if you're looking at it from this side, then the front loops are going to be the ones that are furthest down on this side, so these ones. They can be a little tricky to grab onto, but you get used to it. So yarn over slip stitch, we start with a yarn over, go into the front loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2. And we just keep going until the end of the row. I went into 2 loops on the very last stitch again here. I do this at the end of every row, unless it would state otherwise in the pattern. So, chain 1 and turn. And we can see that it's already looking very nice from the right side. So for this one, we're going to do yarn over slip stitches again, but now into the back loops. So looking at your work from the top, it's going to be this loop. And it's still the same stitch. And at the end of this row, we also chain 1 and then turn. Now we're working from the wrong side again. And we are once again doing yarn over slip stitches into the front loops, or the third loops only. So it is this loop right here. And now we have this is technically our 5th row, but I like to think of the very first row as just kind of a setup row, especially if you're doing the gauge swatch. So I just only start with a yarn over slip stitch row, and then I think of the linked half treble crochet row as kind of the first one in the 4-row repeat. So now at the end of this row, I just chain 1 and then turn. And if we look at it from this side now, you can kind of see this right here is our setup row. So the very first yarn over slip stitch row that we did into the chains. Then you have this really tall row, which is the linked half treble crochets. And then we have, and this row right here of like V's, this is connected to this one. This is the same. And then you have 1, 2, 3 rows of yarn over slip stitches. So this would be one repeat, or one section of the 4-row repeat. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And after this row that we just did, it's this one again. So I'm going to show you just how to start that row and maybe do a couple of stitches just to refresh our memory. So I just did a chain 1, but I'm going to chain 3 for this one. And then we yarn over and go into the second of those 3 chains. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Then go into the back loop of the first stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 3. That's our first stitch. And then we just continue in the back loops only. And then if you keep going, you'll end up with something like this eventually. Now this is a little thinner yarn, but it's the exact same stitches. So you can see here, this is the first like setup row for the yarn over slip stitches. Then you have 1 row of linked half treble crochet. Then you have 1, 2, 3 rows of yarn over slip stitches. And you get these kind of like sections of 4 rows. So in my patterns, I have, for the gauge, I have like the stitches, number of stitches you're gonna have for 10 centimeters or 4 inches. But then I don't have like a specific number of rows per 10 centimeters. Instead, you measure 4 sections of 4 rows. So starting here, for example, you have this one section, 2, 3, 4, and you would measure this, essentially 16 rows, and how tall this is. And it should say in the pattern how many centimeters or inches that should be. So let's look at some increases and decreases. Okay, so let's pretend we're going to do a decrease in the last 2 stitches here with the linked half treble crochet. So we're going to start the stitch as usual by yarning over and going to the horizontal bar of the previous stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, go into the back loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. Now we're just going to go into the very last stitch and just through 2 loops to not create that little gap. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all loops. And that's our little decrease stitch. And if you, for example, wanted to continue this row, so let's say the decrease was somewhere in the middle instead, you would just go into this vertical loop here. And it's gonna be pretty much invisible, the decrease. Okay, let's pretend we're instead doing an increase. And I'm just gonna do a regular stitch first so that we're left with only 1 stitch. So we're gonna increase in this last one here. So first I'm gonna do just a regular stitch, and I'm gonna go through 2 loops as usual for the last stitch. And now for the increase, we're gonna make another stitch into the same stitch. And now you can either go through the same 2 loops again, but for this one I actually just like to go through 1 loop. And I feel like that creates a smaller gap. So that's our increase, 2 stitches into the same stitch. For the yarn over slip stitches, it's gonna be the same process whether you're doing in the front loops only or the back loops only. It's the same type of decrease or increase. So let's start with a decrease in the first 2 stitches. So start as usual with a yarn over, and right now we're working into the front loops, but otherwise you would just go into the back loops, it doesn't matter. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And now instead of pulling through immediately, we're going to go into the second stitch as well. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. I'm just gonna pull through 3 of them. So that's our decrease stitch. Let's do an increase. And this is also very straightforward. You're just doing 2 stitches into the same stitch. So a regular yarn over slip stitch into the first one, and then another into the same. So by doing 2 stitches into 1 stitch, we're doing an increase. And it is as simple as that. So that is it for this video. I hope you found it helpful and that you learned something. And don't hesitate to comment down below if you have any questions, or reach out to me via email or DMs, and I will try to help in the best way possible. So thank you so much for watching, and happy crocheting!